Hello dear learners, with greetings, welcome you all to the class of English Literature with Faisal Ahmed. So we have finished week 1, now we are in the phase of week 2. In this phase, we will discuss the biography of Sylvia Plath and her 3 poems, Daddy, Tulips and Lady Lazarus. So let's begin. First of all, we will discuss about the biography of Sylvia Plath. Probably you didn't know that she, apart from writing poetry, wrote a novel called The Belzer. And she has 2 poetry collections. One is The Colossus and the other is Ariel. She was born on October 27, 1932 in Boston, Massachusetts in USA. Her mother introduced her to poetry. Did you know her first poem was published when she was only 8 years old? Her poem Daddy was influenced by her father's strictness. So we will view an image of her father through the image of the strict Nazi government led by Adolf Hitler in Germany during the Second World War, especially against the Jews. In August 1953, she attempted suicide. Several times she attempted suicide. In 1953, Plath received bipolar electroconvulsive shock treatments, leaving her traumatized. So she was suffering from mental trauma due to her father's strictness, due to the divorce between Plath and Ted Hugh. Plath had her first collection of poetry, The Colossus, in 1960. Excuse me. She was married to Ted Hughes in 1956 and had a stormy relationship. After Hughes left her for another woman in 1962, Plath fell into a deep depression. She created the poems that would make up the collection Ariel 1965, which was released after her death. Plath committed suicide on February 11, 1963. So, in this week, we will discuss about Daddy, Tulips and Lady Lazarus. Daddy had 2 quotes from Daddy. For 30 years poor and white, barely daring to breathe or echo, Daddy, I have had to kill you. You died before I had time. Oh. So through these lines, the anger and rage and wrath of Plath, the speaker of the poem, aroused against her father. So what did her father do? So here, though we can say that Sylvia Plath is the speaker of this poem, but we can guess that this is an autobiographical poem. So through this poem, the strict Nazi government against the Jews reflected in this poem throughout the character of Sylvia Plath's father, as he was a German as well. But in the poem Daddy, Plath, or the speaker of the poem, claimed that she is a Nazi. She is a Jew and she is against Nazi. She is against the strict German people, especially in the context of the Second World War. So let's have a look at the synopsis. The poem begins with the speaker describing her father in several different striking ways. He is at once a black shoe, she was trapped within, a vampire, a fascist, and a Nazi. While alive, and since his death, she has been trapped by his life. And not only that, she was also trapped after marriage with the life of Ted Hugh as well. He holds her back and contains her in a way she is trying to contend with. She has to kill her father in order to get away from him. Oh. Daddy analysis. Here is another quote. It is stuck in a barbed wire snare. Itch. I could hardly speak. I thought every German was you, and the language of sin. So each is like stumbling, like from fear when we stumble to talk. Sylvia Plath's poem Daddy remains one of the most controversial modern poems ever written. It is a dark, surreal, and at times painful allegory that uses metaphor and other devices to carry the idea of a female victim finally freeing herself from her father. So, for your kind information, I'd like to let you know that her father died. Sylvia Plath's father died when she was only 8 years old. It has 16 stanzas, each with 5 lines, making a total of 80 lines, written in tetrameter. Poetic devices are used, like enjambment, metaphor, simile, and juxtaposition. Major themes: gender, surrealism, and mortality. So, what is enjambment? When a line carries straight and without punctuation into the next line, it is said to be enjambed. There is hardly a pause or no pause for the reader. The sense or meaning also continues. There are several examples of enjambment between lines here. The lines are taken from Lady Lazarus. A sort of walking miracle, my skin, bright as a Nazi lampshade, my right foot. So, do you think that the poem Daddy has a real connection with the life of Sylvia Plath? I think yes. His whole life was full of pain and sufferings due to the connection with her father and after marriage with her husband Teddy. Just a second. So in the Daddy, the measure is a confessional poetry, as confess all his personal things to the public. That's why it's a confessional poem. Major themes are gender, mortality, the supernatural elements, language and communication, and freedom and confinement. Is Daddy based on real events in Plath's life? Oh, yes, it is. There is little doubt that Sylvia Plath was trying to exorcise the spirits of both her father and her ex-husband Teddy in this poem. Let's discuss another things appeared in the poem Daddy in the analysis. What did Plath mean? The Daddy was spoken by a girl with an Electra complex. In Daddy, the speaker is father fixated. She is a daddy's girl and uses the childlike endearing term daddy, daddy 7 times to describe the man whose memory tortures her. During the course of the poem, the speaker's goal shifts from an attempt to recover, reunite with, and marry her dead father to an attempt to kill his memory and terminate his dominance over her life. Daddy and the Holocaust. The Holocaust during the Second World War by the Germans against the Jews. As the poem progresses, the narrator identifies herself with the plight of the Jews during the Nazi regime in Germany. There are many direct references to the Holocaust in the poem. Why does the poet use such a metaphor? Does it take things one step too far? Oh, yes it is. Yet it does. Using the nightmarish scenario of the Holocaust as a metaphor for the daughter's relationship with her German father does tap into historical depth and meaning. The poem is ironically depersonalized and taken beyond mere confession into archetypal father-daughter pathos. The trial of Eichmann. Sylvia Plath undoubtedly knew about the final solution of the Nazis in the Second World War. The trial of Adolf Eichmann lasted from April 11, 1961 to December 15, 1961 for 5 months and was shown on television. So who was Otto Adolf Eichmann? He was the culprit and the mastermind behind the Holocaust. So let's more about Otto Adolf Eichmann. So he was a German-Austrian SS Obersturmbannführer. This is a German word, so it's really very difficult to pronounce. Let's know more about his name's pronunciation.
Obersturmbannführer.
Obersturmbannführer. So Adolf Eichmann. So let's see the capital and trial of Adolf Eichmann.
The testimony that convicted Adolf Eichmann of Holocaust atrocities more than half a century ago has lost none of its power to chill the heart. Jim Axelrod now on a silent artifact from the trial that speaks volumes.
First count, nature of offense, crime against the Jewish people.
April 1961, 16 years after the end of World War II. A Nazi colonel named Adolf Eichmann stood trial in Israel for his part in the Holocaust.
During the period 1939 to 1945, caused the killing of millions of Jews.
A master planner of what the Nazis called the final solution, their plan to eradicate Europe's Jews.
Kann ich nur sagen, so far as this question is concerned, I can only say that I never killed anyone.
The mastermind behind the
become the
Holocaust.
only Nazi prosecuted by the Jewish people, enclosed in a
He was
bulletproof
executed
glass booth
after the trial.
that anchors a traveling exhibit currently at the Florida Holocaust Museum in St. Petersburg. Abner Abraham is the curator.
Why did he sit in this booth? Did we try to kill him?
Eichmann would mount a defense he was just following orders, overseeing the logistic, murdering millions.
So this is the concentration camp where Jews are kept like this, inhuman way. Yeah? Oh no.
An unknowing
So dear learner, that's all about the poem Daddy by Sylvia Plath. I hope you can understand this poem from now on. So let's go to the next poem. Tulips. Wow. Tulips make an image in our mind of redness, of pinkness, or special redness, yeah? Tulips normally become red. I have given my name and my day, clothes up to the nurses, and my history to the anesthetist, and my body to surgeons. So these are some lines from the poem Tulips by Sylvia Plath. So Sylvia Plath wrote this poem to express the escapism from the pains and sufferings of this real world. So this world, we know that nobody is happy, whether they are rich or poor or any other condition. All are actually unhappy. In case of Sylvia Plath, the unhappiness was extraordinary. And as we know, she tried to commit suicide so many times. So this is a poem of escapism, escape from the pains and sufferings of real life. Let's read the synopsis of this poem. Tulips represent the escape from the world of pains and sufferings. The poem begins with the speaker noting the arrival of red tulips in her hospital room. While for some these would be welcome, for Plath they are a shocking and brutal reminder of a world she'd like to forget. That is the world of life. So in a hospital with anesthesia, she would like to go into a life of supernatural, a dream, which normally we go in sleep. As the poem progresses, the tulips become more stressful and all-consuming. So tulips is a flower, is a symbol of joy, is an ecstasy. But here, in this poem, Sylvia Plath can tolerate the flower tulips, its ecstasy, because it's the symbol of this world. So anything, any object, any flower, whatever it is, she wants to abandon all the things, all the objects, whether it's tulip or any other things of this world. And she would like to go to a supernatural world where she can find peace. The poem concludes with an image of poet's heart trying desperately to save her out of sheer love for her. Tulip analysis. Here another few lines from this poem. I didn't want any flowers, I only wanted to lie with my hands turned up and be utterly empty. The tulips are too red in the first place. They hurt me. Oh, they hurt me. Too red. They hurt me. So, do tulips hurt you? I think no. But it hurt. They hurt the speaker of this poem. Tulips, written in 1961, is a free verse poem that deals with Sylvia Plath's state of being whilst in hospital for an appendectomy. She initially named it Sick Room Tulips in Hospital, but shortened the title later on, only Tulips. Tulips, as a symbol, focuses in dramatic fashion on the sick room space where the patient, the speaker Sylvia Plath, is resting. A 9-stanza poem in free verse. Poetic devices used in this poem are imagery, symbolism, alliteration, enjambment, simile, metaphor, personification, hyperbole. So you can know about these poetic devices in any poetic terms book. Okay. Major themes are isolation, suffering, escapism, visions of reality, man and the natural world. Let's go to the next poem. Lady Lazarus is a mythological character. Why Plath used this mythological character in her poem Lady Lazarus? Because she also would like to become a giant Lady Lazarus, a monster, and eat the man of this world, especially the man like her father and her husband Teddy. So here are some lines from the poem Lady Lazarus. I have done it again, 1 year in every 10. I a sort of walking miracle, my skin bright as a Nazi lampshade, my right foot is an example of enjambment with any pause or break in between lines, in between couplets, or in between a stanza. Synopsis: the poem begins to refer to a suicidal attempt. Sylvia Plath had made another attempt at suicide after 10 years of a previous one. Then she goes on to describe the situation, focusing especially on her body first. But the very second tercet introduces Plath's concern for the torture of the Jews. She compares her skin with the lampshade that the Nazi concentration camps made by flaying the Jews' skin. The German actually did all these inhuman, horrific activities during the Second World War. The second last stanza, however, turns the table on all the enemies. Plath borrows the phrase "beware, beware" from St. Coleridge to mean that the female poet has been born out of this atrocious murder, and so that is the mental, psychological murder. We can murder or kill a man in two ways. One is bodily and the other is mentally or psychologically. And so the people are now to be cautious of her. Now she has become a monster like the mythological character Lady Lazarus. The poem can also be seen as an allegory of the feminist uprising in the 60s. All the poems related to feminism. So Plath suggests that a vengeance female figure has been born and will eat man like air. Eat man like air. That means she hates man. Why? Because her father was mistreating towards her, and her husband Teddy also was mistreating towards her. Remarried, divorced her. So from all these poems we have got to know that all the poems of Sylvia Plath are autobiographical and confessional. So here to glossary for examples. You can add more glossary in the glossary section of the week 2. Enjambment and prosopopoeia. Enjambment, already I discussed about it. Again I am discussing. In poetry, enjambment is incomplete syntax. At the end of line, the meaning runs over from one poetic line to the next. So structural flows as well as meaning flows to the next line without any punctuation or break. That is enjambment. Most of enjambment, example of enjambment we have found in the poetry of Sylvia Plath. Prosopopoeia, a figure of speech in which an absent or imagined person is presented as speaking. Like in Lady Lazarus, miracle. The speaker herself is the Lady Lazarus. Though Lady Lazarus or the mythical giant is not present here, but she is speaking to us. That she is going to, the speaker in the image of Lady Lazarus, the giant monster, mythological character going to eat all the men who are torturing the female. That's all. Thank you very much. More with the next week. Bye-bye.